Hello, it's been a while. Welcome back. I appreciate all the support from the previous videos. They've blown up relatively, not too much in the grand scheme of things, but super appreciated. I can't believe I have eyes on them, in my opinion. um, so we are reporting back. We made it to Master 5, and we're just going to run through lessons learned in the deck profile really quick. Let's just go check out the decks. Believe it's this one. No, it's not that one. That one will come at a later time. Should be this one. So this list should not be any different. 42 cards, unfortunately. No Exceed. We played DD Crow. We had Kurikara, Dotscaper. So basically, just to recap, the concept was playing 12 starters in 42 is probably superior than playing 9 starters in 40. You actually get to see your starter more often. To me, that's pretty sound. I honestly didn't even feel like one of the interesting things about this build, I don't think I really missed Exceed. Exceed, is usually I want Exceed in the absence of Circular. Usually when I open Circular, I could have literally any other card that's an extender and it would still be just as valid. When I have Exceed on its own to start the combo, that's when I really value Exceed. But because we have 3 Circular and in Master Duel, that situation where Exceed will really shine going first doesn't really happen that often. It's still decent as an extender going second, but some people know that if they pop the Link 1, you can't summon Exceed. So it's probably worse than playing an extender. But either way, similarly, when I play Defensor, you don't really see Defensor in the absence of Circular either. It's for the same exact reason. So when Defensor came into play, it was very valid, on its own, but it didn't happen as frequently because every combo that you play with Circular is superior in every way than Defensor. So to me, it's really hard to differentiate the values. I know for a fact though that Defensor adds 9.4% to the already 74% chance of seeing a starter though. So I believe that's 84%. It's slightly lower than the projected 85% if you were to put it into hypergeometric calculator. I'll put a little blurb on the top right to show you what I'm talking about. So it's a little bit lower because you have to count for drawing Guardian. I'll share a couple replays. I'll upload a couple replays where I just opened Defensor and Guardian. But those are the only time during my climb where I opened Defensor and Guardian. And if I'm being honest, Guardian sucks to draw. But, obviously it sucks to draw with Defensor. But it didn't feel like it, I was either losing that game or I had the extender and this just was 2 bodies and it was just as it was just as serviceable. I couldn't take advantage of the 3 bodies that Defensor generates, but who cares? As long as I can play, it's fine. So yeah, I just wanted to a little bit of math in there, but yeah, Defensor is still good. I think similarly, Circular plus Exceed can play through hand traps. Defensor plus Circular can play through hand traps just as well. Nibiru, okay, so let's review. DD Crow, I feel like performed pretty decently. It wasn't I don't know if I faced enough matchups where it got to shine. But I don't think I don't think I really disliked whenever I saw it. It's Kurikara though. I don't know if I really I did face Kashtira, and we'll do a segment where we go over the data of my matchups and stuff. But Kurikara, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. It's nice that you can search it with Small World, but there are instances where you have to decide between using Small World for Circular or for Kurikara. And it felt like, I'm already, playing Nibiru. So let's say I'm using, it just feels a very specific card versus Kashtira. versus purely, I feel like hand traps do the job pretty well. Though I didn't face that many purely. So that's the thing. Because I didn't face that much purely, I don't know. I feel like I can see myself cutting Kurikara in the near future. It's a good card, but only in really specific situations. I don't think I ever resolved it once in like a meaningful way. So, you know, for me, it's like the panic button. You know, oh, what if I face Kashtira going second? But I don't know how realistic. I maybe in a tournament, you know, I don't want to, especially like a 8-round tournament where you can only lose twice. You don't want to run into one matchup where you just like auto lose, and you know it's a short round. But in the ladder, you know, it's okay for me. Like it's okay to lose to those decks anyway that Kurikara would beat. The one, yeah, even Kaiju too in its spot. I feel like in the ladder it's not a big deal. This deck is very strong. You can just, you know, pick yourself back up and then just go to the next game. So, but there weren't really many situations where Kurikara could shine. So it's okay. I feel like I'm comfortable cutting it, and if I do run into those situations, so be it. I just win the next games. Maxi, no explanation. Ash Blossom, Ghost Spell. Didn't draw it that often. I just keep it around in case I need it to search. Like if you notice, all of these hand traps are just good versus Mathmech, the Mathmech mirror, which I did run into pretty frequently. The sample for my diamond climb, my diamond climb to Master 5 is pretty small though. But I feel like these hand traps were good versus, like, it was exactly as I predicted. Nibiru is very good versus bad Mathmech players, and less experienced Mathmech players, because they haven't learned the lines to play into Nibiru. They're not really sequencing things optimally, so Nibiru ends up being pretty strong versus them. Gachiri, I think Gachiri's great. Like as far as what's called, you know, small world bridges, it's not the worst extender. One thing you gotta keep in mind, though it hasn't really come up, is it's a level 8, so you can't use it for a link decoder. So I don't think it's been a game determinative like interaction, but it's just something like if you you're relying on this body to be used as link decoder, just watch out. You don't wanna goob yourself because of a small misplay. So I think this is just a sequencing thing. Dotscaper I think is very spectacular. I think it's clean small world bridge. Useful earth you can dump with Terahertz. Similarly, Gachiri is the same if you need to do the Crystal Heart OTK. The other thing is so I already mentioned it was a bridge, but on its own it can be Terahertz, since it any two bodies represents Terahertz with the Save Worm and Aggregator. Very strong. If it's like the only card in your hand, you have a bunch of hand trap. So I think I'm pretty positive on it. The other thing is it's absurd that like Circular Consent off on one card can become Terahertz plus Heat Soul to give you 2 draws, and that's thanks to Terahertz dumping Dotscaper. So that's really, really valuable. So if I do any other iterations deck, I think I'm gonna like stick with this. I'm not a huge fan of lone circular combos, and it's not really realistic to like not open an extender. But when you do, it's just very valuable to just like squeeze out as much as you can. Just Heat Soul drawing 2 and Terahertz, very spectacular board. I was really impressed by Singularity and Terahertz. I think in the last video I was pretty positive on it. I think I liked it a lot. Yeah, I don't see myself cutting this package. I really like saving on extra deck space for microcoder. And I think I've demonstrated to myself that I don't need microcoder in conflict to win, especially when I'm going first. And this board too, you can do it through hand traps as long as you open extender, and that's what Defensor and these two represent. Same with Diameter. If you open Diameter, you can go into the combo. It's just really nice to just make this board, because if you for each extender, you can kind of sort of trade with one hand trap, and your opponent will be on less cards. Even then, you can convert it to like a Heat Soul combo. So Heat Soul's nice. I think even it's very rare that Heat Soul my opponent would need to have 3 hand traps so I end on Heat Soul by itself. But they're on 3 hand traps and I'm drawing 2. So the advantage of Deficit is being widened. So here we go. Red Reboot performed pretty well. I think what's interesting is it's also good against the Mathmech Mirror, and I'm kind of worried about Red. The nice thing about Red Reboot, it's an answer to your opponent's Red Reboot. So if they're nice with it, and they're trying to Red Reboot your your Super Factorial, then you can just respond with your own Red Reboot in hand. It's pretty nice. I suppose you can set it, but I think I keep it in hand. Just I'm paranoid about Duster or something like that. It's not as searchable as Conflict, of course, but what I like about another philosophy with Bell, DD Crow, Nibiru, Maxx, and Red Reboot. These cards are pretty powerful because you can just let them cook. You can let the Mathmech Mirror cook. You just wait. You just have patience. You just hold them. And then you just wait for them to invest into their board. Like, let's say they're trying to OTK with access code. You just hold on to the Nibiru, and then you just Nibiru them for their life savings. Similarly, you just let them get their end board with Terahertz, and you just Red Reboot them on your turn when they attempt to Super Factorial. It doesn't, it's the cleanest answer to Super Factorial that isn't like called by, or actually called by is not even that effective anymore because of Terahertz. But I think this is just the cleanest out because they invested all those resources into Super Factorial, and you just stop it. Same with DD Crow. You can, it's kind of similar to Abyssal. Maybe this is just, I still keep thinking about it. Like, maybe I should just reserve the spot for Abyssal, because I know there's the, conflict with Defensor and Transcode, but I don't know how realistic that is. Like, you can always end phase Bestial on your opponent's turn, so that's just a technical play, like sequencing thing. Just be conscious of that and play it out like that. If you have to do it on your turn, so be it. But I feel like your opponent needs to have the foresight to dump 4 names for end phase Bestial to be terrible. The other thing about the Bestial is you pressure. So like a Druid Worm. Well, okay, that's not true. Terahertz contests a Druid Worm, so no, that's not true. That's not true. But at least you can destroy something by battle. But even with the Druid Worm, you can just link it off. So it's not the worst. I guess it does contest Terahertz. You just can't crash it or anything during the battle phase because Terahertz will just negate it. I don't know. I was impressed with how this deck performed. The hand trap line was pretty solid, I think. But that's because in Diamond, you just faced varied matchups. It's like wild, the Wild West. The only thing I can really say is I'm not impressed by Kurikara. I don't think I'm impressed by Kaijus. On the ladder, not a big deal. You can't win every game, and I think these are the games I'm going to choose to lose. It's even then, like, there have been there's at least one game I can think of where it saved my ass, but I don't think I was winning that game in the first place. Similarly, it's the same game as me opening Defensor and Guardian. So like the odds were stacked against me, and there was no reason for me to win that game. But yeah, so that's like this deck profile. So kind of disjointed lessons learned. We'll just let's switch over to the data so we can go into more detail. I just feel like this build, performed pretty decently. But let's see if the data will give us more insight on what to, what we can expect in the future. Alrighty, here's the fun part of the segment. All this data. So let's go to a quick summary. We can just go through all these we can scroll through all these random matchups in a bit. So for Master, we only played like 44 duels. Our win rate is about 70.5%. Pretty good, all things considered. Going second win rate, it's pretty high, 66. I always expect 60%. Win rate going first, not too surprising. It was actually lower at the beginning. We'll look through the season, but it started increasing just because I just think this deck is naturally favored to win when you go first. Now for the matchups, we face relatively more Mathmech than usual, and I made a prediction that about 10% of the pie was gonna be Mathmech. 13.6%, not too far off, but it definitely took like a portion of Kashtira's 24% from last season. So that I feel pretty, confident in. So keep in mind, the last season was about, was the overall Master and Diamond climb. This is just the Diamond climb to Master 5. So we're starting to see a meta develop, but for the most part, it's dominated by Rogue. This portion of 50%, the magnitude of one decks that are represented that would normally be in another portion of the pie chart. So you could see, freaking Virtual World. I can't believe I've seen that, let's see. Dragon Link, we saw a few of those, and Labyrinth. So, branded. So this is interesting. I faced the same guy twice, and I just bricked twice versus him, going first. And he even, I don't know, like there was probably a chance if I was able to play, but he got me. He got my ass. So yeah, we got some more data here. So Mathmech. So yeah, we beat every Mathmech player we faced. Looks like we beat every Kashtira player we faced. Nope, just one. We lost to one. Looks like we beat every Labyrinth we faced, which is pretty nice. We beat a couple Dragon Link. Oh, poor Pendulum. Oh, we got our redemption versus Rescue Ace. I was like 0-3 last season. But yeah, this isn't a surprise. Branded and Bestials, those are like our worst matchups combined. I'm actually kind of thankful that, well, there's a couple of factors that I believe, Branded Fusion's at 1, so people lost confidence in the deck. 2, the deck is actually a little bit more complicated to pilot nowadays. Because now ashing Branded Fusion's not enough. They can combo with a Nadir Servant. They can even thrust into fusion duplication. It's crazy. They actually have ways to extend past that. It's just a naturally bad matchup. We can only hope our non-engine is enough. It's not even the Bestial part is annoying, but I think just the branded engine is just way more powerful. Okay, we lost every Mikanko. I remember last season I was like, oh, Mikanko's a free win. They made you go first every time. I'm pretty sure I misplayed a couple times versus them, and then I just got owned. So that's on me. Dragon Link. All right. So these are just one-ofs. Vanquish Soul. That's a matchup that I think I'm gonna have trouble, in the future. So in Master 5, I kind of predict that we're gonna get our butts handed to us to Vanquish Soul. They play TC Boo. There can be only one. For example, they can play Shifter. If we play targeted negation, Vanquish Soul can dodge that. Pretty resilient deck. If they go first, their engine can beat us as well too. They have like one board wipe, one quote unquote targeted pop with rosin. They have a lot of tools. They don't really need TC Boo to beat us. If they go first. If they're going second, it's pretty hard, pretty tough for them. So yeah, let's check out the matchups. First matchup is Tier Elements. So here I keep notes of all these. We're gonna go to the summary tab to check out what all these amounted to. But yeah, pretty decent streak at the beginning, and then here around Diamond 3 we got a demotion, and that's just the nature of it's scary when you get a promotion and you just lose 3 in a row, because that means immediate demotion. Don't let it get you down. It's part of the climb. Not a big deal to demote. It's a diamond. I don't know. To me, ladder is pretty low stakes. It's not really. How would I put it? It's a test of my skill for sure. But it's not as high stakes as like a tournament. I'm just I am investing time into laddering as well, but it's not as big deal to me as like doing well in a tournament. So you can always pick yourself back up. Don't lose hope. But if it means taking a break after a demotion, that's fine too. You don't want to rage queue. Yeah, we faced a bunch of Mathmech, Dragon Link. I'm pretty sure this is the guy who just destroyed me. Oh, I think these two. Okay, these two no, I don't think that's it. Spiral. We went first versus Spiral. I don't know how we lost that. Sprite Live Twin was an interesting pick. Yeah, but there was a Vanquish Soul game we lost. So we're just gonna scroll a bit. Exo Sister, I recall Shifter. They went first with Shifter, and even if I imperm their play, but there was nothing I could really do. Maybe I could have survived till turn 3 by holding the imperm. But I felt like the shifter was what did me in. Let's see. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, we beat. Okay, we beat Bestial Branded here. So yeah, these are matchups. Just for transparency, I'll link this in this spreadsheet in the description anyway. Just so you can like take a gander. I'm not trying to hide anything. The one limitation to this is some of these decks. I do keep track of the coin flip, but some of these decks make you go first. So I need to keep track of the coin flip and whether I went first or second separately, because there's decks like Mikanko will just make you go first. So let's go to the summary. Alrighty, so yeah, if you can see, the coin flip was pretty skewed towards us. If you take a look, there's probably gonna be parity when we go to Master 5. So I'm expecting a bunch of going seconds, at the beginning. But yeah, this is, it's a small sample size of 44. Though I am used to seeing 50-50 at the end of the run, so or something close to that. 53, 47, same difference. But yeah, yeah, just keep in mind, this is only 44 games. This is not, Konami is not on my shoulder. So check this out. We have Ash Blossom and Maxx as overall most played. Don't take it too seriously that Ash Blossom is more than Maxx. There's probably some outlier. Just because one number is bigger than the other. Obviously, they're being played as a response. To Ash Blossom is being played as a response to Maxx. Imperm is no surprise. Called no surprise. Correlated with Maxi. Zeus is interesting. Well, I think I've touched upon in the last video. Okay, these should not be a surprise. There's a lot of skew towards these. They represent like the upper 50%, which is interesting to me, because now, like, when you go down lower, it starts to like see the percentages start to drop off drastically. So Nibiru is interesting. Kashtira, what's called a Rise Heart is represented. So this Kashtira is just like Fenrir Splash. So there's a good chance that it's not just your typical Kashtira player. So that's why there's some discrepancy between a Rise Heart. There actually have been some decks that play a Rise Heart as a generic extra deck out. So that's also contributing to this number as well. So this is like mostly Fenrir Splash, and this is also contributed by decks like Purely playing a Rise Heart. So yeah, these shouldn't be too these are pretty common extra deck monsters. Yeah, one thing I was interested is seeing how Gammas play. We see Kaiju Seas play. It's not that common. Even Bestials don't seem too common. Outside of this is like this includes the dedicated decks that play Bestial. So a portion of those Dragon Links and branded players are in that. So as a generic tool, I think that's probably like one Labyrinth or something, one or two. I'm surprised Prosperity, isn't being represented. Kurikara is there. We see Elf. Elf is doing their best. Herald of the Abyss kind of dropped off. Of course, keep in mind this is a small sample size. I didn't actually face that much Read Red Reboot, which is interesting. Yeah, I want to see Gamma here, because that kind of determines, like, 5 people on Gamma, and I understand it. No one wants to play Driver. No one wants to draw that thing. But I just think it's safe to blind Maxi if I start seeing this. Like 5 people out of the 44, pretty significant. We'll see the overall stats at the and then we'll have a better picture of how Gamma, how people, of the sample of people that I'm facing. Not many are running on Gamma. And there's probably reason for that. There's probably dedicated non-engines dedicated to all this like upper 50%. But yeah, check out this drop off. We go from like 50% to 40 to 30 to 25 to like 14 to 9%, and then we just go down to 0. We actually did find somebody. So a pointers ban. I don't even know why I'm counting it. What is it? Heavy slump. There was a heavy slump gamer with Thrust, and that was pretty funny. They never got resolve it. I think it was a Sky Striker player, which was interesting. Yeah, the things that see absolutely no play. Ghost Ogre falling off. Jesus. There was one purely that I faced, and that kind of informs, my opinion of kaijus and kurikara. What am I doing? If I have hand traps that could kind of, reduce the chance of seeing Noir, do I even need kurikara? It's nice to have it, it feels comfortable to play it with when it's in the deck, but if it's not doing anything, why is it there? Yeah, so overall, this is I'll share this data. I just wanted to do an overview. First thing is transparency. Second is just to give a summary of my matchups, for Diamond. And, you kind of see these texts that I'm keeping track of that people are playing, that's all I have for this segment. There's another deck profile that I want to go over about what I kind of want, a concept I want to try out for Master Rank. So yeah, thanks for sitting through all this. I have a couple things in store. All right, let's jump to the deck profile. Alrighty, so we're back to Master Duel. So this is my Diamond climb, and now I'm going to show you the concept I have for my Master climb. So check this out. One thing I was toying around with is circular is really strong. So first, let's just take this in. We have 1 driver, 1 dotscaper, 3 Maxx, 2 Cyframe Gear Gamma, 3 Ash Blossom Joyous Spring, 1 Mathmech Sigma, 1 addition. Oh, sorry, 2 addition, 2 subtraction, 3 diameter, 3 circular, 1 Gachiri, 3 Nibiru, 3 Signet Mining, 1 Equation, 3 Small World, 2 Called by the Grave, 1 Crossout Designator, 2 Infinite Impermanence, 1 Mathmech Super Factorial, 2 Red Reboot. And the extra deck is the same as before, but I'll go through it quickly. The Save Worm, Laplacian, 1 Alimbertian, Aggregator, Lingaribo, Link Decoder, Wicked, Update, Flash, Crystal Heart, Transcode, Heat Soul, Access Code, Terahertz, and Singularity. So this concept is, all right, what if we do no Firewall Defensor and just play more Mathmech Extend and just Mathmech names in general? So the concept with this is basically, one of the toughest things for this deck to deal with is Maxx. And Maxx, your opponent is only going to open it 33.76% of the time, possibly even lower if they have a more higher than 40 card deck. But what's really good versus Maxx, first of all, I'm playing Gamma. That's a Maxx out already. So compared to the previous list, I'm playing 8 Maxx outs versus 6 Maxx outs. So yeah, this is 8 Maxx outs in general. So this is pretty valuable. And in fact, there is a combo where you can, if you have Circ and then you utilize Gamma earlier in the turn, you can sidestep the transcode lock and still end on Singularity plus Terahertz. So this is great. Gamma is serving as a Maxx out, an extender for one of to enhance your solo circular boards. It's just and it's a small world bridge. This is like all I ever wanted, the most efficient use of my space. Well, I wouldn't say driver is the most efficient use of space, but this card just accomplishes so much. I feel like the benefits, there's a risk, which is driver. You're basically wasting a slot on it. But I don't know. I just anyway. So there's a combo where you can end on, and I'll showcase that later in the video. We're still sticking to the circular plus dotscaper. So we might need it less. We're probably going to use it more often as a small world bridge because we now play a bunch more extenders than previously, I believe. So anyway, so back to my point about Maxx. So you have a Maxi out. So you have 8 Maxi outs now. And now you have 8 additional names that you can normal summon in response to Maxi. So there's a combo where, if you activate Circular, you can send one name. And then if they chain Maxi, that's a pretty good opportunity to Gamma. But if not, so if they do chain Maxi, they get a draw. But if you have a Mathmech name that's not Circular, you can normal summon it to add Super Factorial, and then just go into Alimbertian, or just link it off, or even a Baguska. That's something I want to try and fit in. If I can fit in a Baguska, that would be very valid in this situation. So that's something that both Defensor and Exceed do not accomplish. Under Maxi, they, when Maxi's not present, they're very good, of course. But, I think playing more Mathmech names can reduce the chance of Maxi. So I'll go through an exercise. We'll switch over to the browser and we'll do a little exercise to show you what I mean. Anyway, so the idea is when you normal summon, you'll search a Super Factorial and you have 3 names in graveyard, and you only give your opponent 2 draws. So that's pretty solid. The hope is you have hand traps. I think, if I could fit in a Baguska, that would make that board a lot more threatening versus my opponent, because, they had invest cards. They have to play an Imperm to get rid of the Baguska. They have to Kaiju it. The thing about Baguska, though, is it hoards the Xyz material underneath it. So you can't use Super Factorial unless they do something like Kaiju it to put the Xyz material in the graveyard. So that's something to keep in mind. But anyway, there's another goal I wanted to build with this deck. On top of improving your odds against Maxi, I also wanted to play 13 non-engine and 40 within 40 cards. In the previous deck list, the 42 card deck list, I was playing like 14 hand traps, which compensates for playing the additional cards. So you still have the chance to open 2 hand traps 50% of the time with 14 and 42. So here, if you play 13 and 40, you achieve the same thing. So yeah, I'll probably do a little blurb in the corner to show you the comparison. But yeah, so that should be 3 Maxi, 5 with the 2 Gamma, 8 with the 3 Ash, 11 with the 3 Nibiru, and then 2 with the Impermanence. So that's a total of 13. So we also play other non-engine, which is the Maxi outs and the Red Reboot. So Red Reboot could be treated as going second card, and it's just as good versus the Mathmech Mirror. So yeah, we're not playing the targeted stuff like Bell and what's called DD Crow versus Mirror, but I feel like Gamma is almost as strong. Puts in quite a bit of work. Anyway, so yeah, this is a pretty simple list. We'll switch over to the browser and then go through an exercise to explain why I'm playing 8 Mathmech names. Alrighty. 1 second. Alrighty. Hopefully this isn't too scary. We're going to delve into some math. We want to capture how effective Maxi is when you open Circular. So I choose this scenario because you're not really interested in hands where you don't open playable or, kind of mid and they Maxi you. Because, there's not much you can do in those situations. It's kind of like with Circular, that's how you can actually leverage those anti-Maxi combos. So, my earlier list, the one that made it to Master 5, plays 42 cards. And we have 9 Circular. So we have a 72.1% chance of seeing Circular. And we run 6 Maxi out. So that would be 1 cross out. 2 called by. 3 Ash. So that's 6. So we're gonna put in 6 here and 6 here. So we're not interested in scenarios where we open Circular, and also open an Ash out. Maxi is effective against us when we don't see a Maxi out. So I'm gonna put 0 in these columns. And so here we have the percentage of games where Maxi is very strong versus us. 34.83%. So your opponent has a 33.76% chance to open at least 1 copy of a 3 of. So if you multiply this percentage we obtained when we don't open an out with the percentage of seeing a 3 of on your opponent's side, you will have the percentage of games that Maxx is effective versus you when you open circular. Because nothing feels worse than being able to open playable, but then you get goobed by Maxx. So 34.83% times 0.3376. Let me punch that in. That is 11.75% of games. So that's pretty huge. That's like 11, kind of close to 12 out of 100 games where Maxx will just resolve on you. So if we include the Mathmech names, so there's 5 names. So that's 1 sigma, 1 addition, 1 subtraction, 2 diameter. That's 5. So we also want, so that's 5 more cards that are effective versus Maxx. So this is the card we would normal summon if they chain Maxx to circular. So in this case, we have 16.88%. So our odds versus Maxx are improved. So in that case, let's multiply that by 0.3376. 3376. So that's 5.69%. So that's almost close to 6. So when we open circular, 6 out of 100 games, 6% of the time we open circular, we get a chance to, at least counter either out Maxx or at least mitigate Maxx's impact. So we have that. So this would be outing Maxx and this would be the anti-Maxx combo. So this is those scenarios combined. So by comparison, I ran a 40 card list. So we're going to update this. We still run 9 circulars. We still have called by. And in addition, we have 2 gamma. So let me delete this. So we have a 15.69% chance. So it's almost half. Earlier is 34.83%. So we improve our chances just by adding 2 Maxx out. Oh, 1 second. There we go. 25.49% chance. So if you multiply that by 0.3376, don't worry, I'll put something in the corner so we can keep track of all this so you don't have to listen to the numbers. So it's 8.6% of games. So that's huge compared to the 11.75% of games that Maxx is actually going to resolve versus you. It's about, like a 3 game difference, give or take. And then if we add the 8 Mathmech names, so that would be 2, well, I'll do 4 add, and so that's both add and sub. 1 sigma, 3 diameter. So that's 8 names if I'm counting right. And let's see the chance of not opening them. So we're not able to normal summon. That's 6% chance. So even smaller. So if you multiply that by 0.3376, that should just be close to 2%. And that's pretty big. I think by comparison, 5.76% versus 2%, you get you reduce the number of games Maxx either resolves against you or is impactful versus you. Because if you have the anti-Maxx combo, you still give them 2 draws. But at least you have your super factorial live. So that's every deck stream. So that's the concept behind this. This math is the basis of the playing all these extenders. Theoretically, you could play, instead of let's say we play 3 add and sub and then 1 Sakitama. So Sakitama doesn't contribute to that combo. You don't lose that much either. So now we only have 7 names. 7.41%. 0.3376. That's 2.5% of games that Maxx will resolve unfavorably versus you. So honestly, it's not, it's not a huge impact that we I don't know if we even need the extra addition and subtraction. But they're extenders and we cut exceed to make room for these, so it makes sense to play extenders. So Sakitama is still a consideration for this build, but yeah, that's it's just an interesting thought experiment. If I did something wrong, feel free to let me know. This is just like an idea, us using trying to use math to make some decisions, and that's the theory, and I'll test it in master and see if how many I'll probably keep track of how many times Maxx resolves against me. Anyway, that's all I got for the math portion of the segment. Let's move on back to the deck list. All right, and that's pretty much what inspired me to try out this pure build. You could call it being paranoid about Maxi. I'll own up to that. At least we get to play, 13 hand traps and then additional non-engine in the form of Maxi outs and red reboot. So I'm pretty happy with this list. Is that 40? I would probably be happier if there's more starters like Defensor. But this is a chance to experiment. Often we get to have full power, link decoder, circular at 3. There's probably other ways to handle what's called other variants we could try. The beautiful part is circulars at 3, so you can probably get away with anything. Like I said, Defensor only adds about like 9.4% in terms of starters for your combo, even at 12 copies. So it's like the majority of the time, the 74% chance is circular. So circular drowns out all the other auxiliary engines that you could possibly play. So like, I'm just choosing an engine that kind of ints less to Maxi, but these extenders are still good, in the game. And you play diameter at 3, which is also one of the strongest combo this deck has. Diameter plus circular, it's heinous. It's just as heinous. It's probably more heinous than Defensor plus what's called circular. And there's no locks with it too. So probably think about playing a Baguska or something like that. We'll see. So this is the list I plan on playing. So I'll just close it out with this. If you want to add me, this is my ID. I guess I'll also add that I'm working on some replays for the climb, so we have quite a few. There's some that are not public. I'll upload those as time goes on. What's called? So yeah, there's my ID if you want to add me. Completely optional. I'll close this out. There's a gamma plus what's called circular combo that I wanted to showcase. So yeah, I've already finished my thoughts on the deck. So thanks for watching. If you want to keep watching, I'll just showcase the gamma plus circular combo. Alrighty, have a good one. Alrighty, so the combo with circular plus gamma is going to end on Terahertz plus Singularity. Gamma is basically an extender, if you can believe it. Despite not allowing us to revive with transcode, we're going to make it work. So just assume that we activate Gamma, so this could be Small World, getting ashed by the opponent while you control no monsters, or even just Blind Maxi. Let's keep going. Yeah, we summon Driver, we summon Gamma. Transcode is out of the question at this point. We're going to go into Allen version with Sigma Revive, of course. And now we're going to go, so this is where we most of the time deviate. We're going to search this extender, not diameter. We're going to end up with like a couple bodies short if we don't go this route. So we need to get rid of the Driver. We can't use non-effect monsters, but we can convert it to a Cybers using Allen version's tribute. So we're going to go straight to Wicked, use extenders, trigger Wicked to banish Allen version. And here is how we get diameter. So this is what makes this combo work. So if you play Wicked, you can probably, and Gamma, you can probably make use of this. So now we just revive with diameter. We go into link decoder, go into transcode, revive link decoder, flash mage, revive. I'm going to make sure to put it in the zone. So this is for Singularity in the future. We are going to Singularity, and now to trigger, all we have to do is link 1. So that's Link Rebo's job, and we get back our transcode. So yeah, we get Terahertz, we're going to send to Save Worm, we have Super Factorial, and we have 4 names in the graveyard. So pretty slick if you ask me. It's kind of a corner case. Wicked's pretty decent in general, but this is just kind of making the most out of these cards. It's probably why I love Gamma so much. Alrighty, so if you found this interesting, feel free to comment below. That's all I have for my Master 5 journey. I'll let you all know with more uploads for some replays and commentary, as well as my finalizing my Master 1 climb. Alrighty, take care and have a good one.